Hey everyone, and welcome to the Creative Financing Podcast. I'm Nicole Kimanjian, and I'm here with Cody Richard and the host of the show, Jeff Rappaport. This is episode 207, and today we're going to continue with part 3 of creating true passive income through notes. While listening to this podcast, if you guys have any questions, please head over to our Facebook group, the Creative Financing Podcast. If you're not part of the community already, just head over to Facebook and search the Creative Financing Podcast and ask to join. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can always ask your questions in the comments below. Otherwise, if you guys are getting any value from this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the show. It lets us know that you're enjoying the content and learning, and it really motivates us to continue creating episodes for you guys. We also want your feedback, so wherever you're listening, please rate and review us.
Cody, tell me, what did you think about our last couple of episodes?
Super eye-opening for me. Something I'll definitely start doing in my business because I want to create more passive income for myself. Might as well make it true passive income.
Well, and we talked about too, when we were talking about those two duplexes, and I asked you, what is your exit strategy? And you said, I always look at it from me buying it, but depending on how much money I'd have to put down, right? How much money did you have to put down on either of those other two deals?
Nothing.
No. But even let's say this, let's say that if you did have to put down, let's say 8 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand even, you have some choices, right? So one, if you put down 15 grand, you were making $1,000 a month passive income. Is that a good use of your money?
Yeah, I'd say so. Make 12,000 off of 15,000 in 1 year.
Yeah, it's a good cash on cash return, coming close to that 100%.
Oh yeah.
What if you borrowed that 15,000 and from a private lender, and you paid them $150 a month or whatever to make 850?
Yeah, that would not cut into profits much.
Right. So always think about if the cash flow is really good, how do I stay in it as opposed to wholesaling it, getting paid once. And even though we kind of looked at a way to try to wholesale it to a landlord, I didn't love that. I thought we were giving up too much by doing it. But I have some commercial deals where there are, depending on what it will cost to close and then close again, because some of these are significant amounts of closing costs, right? So it would be ideal properties to stay in the middle. Now the cash flow is not $1,000 a month, it's $3,000 through $4,000 a month. So always keep that in mind. And Nicole, what were your thoughts on it?
It's actually making me think that, I just moved to Florida and I wanted to buy more rentals, and maybe that's not exactly what I want to do. I mean, I'm in an apartment now, so I want to house hack something, but it's probably a better idea to hold some notes if I can.
Well, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with having some balance, right? So where you may have some notes and you may actually own some properties, that way you do get to take advantage of the depreciation and the appreciation. And you both are more new to real estate investing. Okay, you should really try out having tenants and see how much you like it, and then make a decision. But I tell you that for the most part, notes are hands off, and your property manager is not calling you telling you have a problem. So the only time that you have a problem is when the check didn't show up, and it happens on occasion, but far less than you would think. So all right, so we're going to talk about another example, and I think you'll like this one. It's going to be a similar type offer, but when I show you the example, you'll be like, wow, how did you even make any money off of this, and it'll be on a condo, which you would think that most people don't want. And you would be right, because if you were buying it for cash flow, those HOA fees tend to get in the way and make it difficult to cash flow. But when you're not paying those HOA fees, they are just fine. It doesn't make a difference one way or the other. So Cody, why don't we, oh my God, I didn't record, did I?
Oh no. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I
you
am
are
recording.
recording.
I am recording. My
Don't
bad.
scare me like that,
Yeah.
Jeff.
I'm like, oh
Like
my
I have
God,
to do
did I
this
do
intro
that?
again.
We're just talking for fun.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
All right, so let's set up this example. My bad, I panicked there. All right. Okay, so we have a 2-bed, 1.5 bath condo.
Okay.
It is worth, so the seller thought it was worth 180. When we ran our comps, we thought it was worth 190.
Okay.
The seller owes 30. They have a payment of $410 a month, PITI, so everything, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And just so you know, the taxes run like $837 a year. There's an HOA,
How much we talking?
$140 a month. The property is in good condition, but rent condition, and nothing super exciting about it. And
Okay.
it will rent for $1,100 to $1,150.
Is that what it's renting for right now, or is that the pro forma?
No, he was living in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what it would rent for. All right, so what did he want? I think he wanted, I think it was one. He wants 170,000.
Okay. So asking 170.
Yep. So Nicole, are you super excited about this deal?
No.
Why not?
Well, you said his asking is 170,
Yep.
right? And its ARV is 190. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know, 1% rule.
1% rule would be if he's asking 170 and he's getting $1,150 a month in rent, we're not there yet either, right? So
Yeah.
so no 1% rule, or really that close, and not much equity.
Yeah, when I see it, I think a cash offer is pretty much out of the equation.
Yeah. The good thing is he said I would be open to terms. Okay. So
The magic words.
yeah, and we did make him a number of offers. However, one of the things that sellers tend to, when they have these small mortgages, I don't know what it is, but they're very concerned that the bank's going to call the loan due. Seriously, what bank is calling the loan due on $30,000 that he's probably had this loan for 10 plus years, and he's making the payment of 400? What is the point of calling that loan due, right? That would make no sense. And if you're not understanding what I'm talking about, every loan has a due on sale clause in it, which means that if you were to transfer title to the property, the bank has the right to call the loan due, which means that they have the right to get paid off. They don't do it very often, and it would make even less sense here. But for whatever reason, sellers with small mortgage balances are very concerned about that.
And like you always say, banks are in the business of making money. And to be able to do the due on sale clause, they have to stop taking the payments for the property. They got to stop making money on something that's already performing.
And it gets even worse. We can absolutely go into what it means for a bank to actually exercise the due on sale clause, because it's kind of idiotic on their part, but that's another episode for another time. All right, so what I want to do is I want to come up with an offer that you guys think makes sense, and then what we'll do is we'll look at the results and what that means to us in a separate episode. Okay, so Cody, you've had some experience putting some creative finance stuff together.
Yep.
Where would you start with this? What would you do?
So with this one, the asking price, I feel like, well, I guess what I'd have to figure out is what kind of cash flow we could get. So looking at the exit strategy of basically renting it out versus owner occupant versus just wholesaling it to another landlord.
Well, then let's do this. Let's work out looking just like we do any kind of income property. What do? We identify what we can get in rents, right? So we've done that.
Yep.
And let's identify what are the expenses. So we have taxes of $837 per year.
Okay.
And we have, I'm going to guess insurance. This is a condo, so insurance is typically less. So let's call it $450 for the year. Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. And we have HOA, 140.
140, yep. And that's per month.
Yeah, so that's 1680 for the year. And we would have, we're probably not going to have much. Utilities are all going to be the tenants. There's not really any maintenance. So maybe, maybe utilities like water, maybe water, sewer, garbage, 500 for the year.
Yeah.
And some repairs, right? So I don't know, 1,200. Yeah, well, with a condo, we don't have any roof or exterior stuff, and this is pretty basic. We may have to clean carpets, and if we had any kind of turnover and stuff, but it's pretty basic, right? All right, so what do we got? We have
It's $4,667.
Okay, and in income, let's say that we can get 1150 times 12, 13,800.
So I'm a little over 9,000 in total.
Right.
Total profit then.
Yep. The problem that we would potentially have is that if we look at the asking price, right? So we already know that we've got to cover some debt. I don't know how much it really is. If taxes are like $70 and insurance is like 35 or something, so maybe 300 of that's principal and interest, right? Something like that. And so we know that we're going to have to cover that, but they want 170. And so if there's 13,800, so we have nine. This isn't really profit. This is really what we would call like NOI, right?
Yep. Gotcha.
So 9,133 divided by 12 is 761. There's not much room to offer a payment to the seller, right? I mean, 761 on a $170,000 purchase is probably low just for that monthly payment, right? And then there's no cash flow left over for you or some buyer, right?
Correct.
So using it as a rental really does not make much sense. And trying to structure, so let me ask this. So where do we go from here? What do you think? How do you think we should try to structure something based on that? There's not much money as a straight rental, right? Because we got to pay all those things. So immediately what's going to come to my mind is what?
Trying to get rid of those expenses or going with like an owner occupant.
There you go, right? Because if we sell it to an owner occupant, we eliminate the taxes, the insurance, the HOA, the utilities, and the repairs. Oh, we eliminated all of those expenses. So now we've got something way better to work with. Okay, so give me an idea. And you know, I'm putting you on the spot. I know it. You weren't prepared for this. I get it. But how would you? What would you try to do here? Even if you're just throwing numbers together, whether they work or not.
So I would try to do something that basically covers the owner's payment plus a little bit more. So maybe give them 150, 200 a month.
Okay.
And then I would figure out how much I could charge an owner occupant.
So basically you want to be able to pay the owner, let's say $500-600 for principal and interest payment. But does that really work based on what he's asking and how much equity he's going to have?
So it depends. So what's 20% of 170,000?
So
I guess I'd go to financial
34,000. Yeah, it'd be 136.
136.
Mhm.
So if I were to run that at just 4%,
So
roughly.
you're
what
just
you
trying to
get.
figure out what it would be going to a bank, right?
Yeah. So at a
Yep.
bank, it's about 650.
Okay.
And I assume my payment would probably be a little bit higher if I wasn't putting as much down.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, with that being said, I would probably need to pay closer to 750
Maybe.
to
Okay.
the owner.
All right. So tell me, how would you try to do it? So what's the purchase price?
Okay. So my offer, I would do purchase price, let's say 173. I'm learning to try to go a little bit over what they're asking to try to entice them.
Yep.
And then for the down payment, I personally would probably like to stay a little under 10% or right around there, because an owner occupant, I couldn't get much more out of that.
Yep.
So let's say 15,000 down.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're cutting it really close there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can calculate. So that'd be 158 is the
Yep.
present value.
That's right.
So 158. We can keep the interest rate a little lower. We'll go
Yep.
3.25,
Okay.
just an arbitrary number.
Yep.
Amortized over 30 years. So that would put the payment at 687. So pretty close to what we had talked about.
So interest of 3.25 and okay.
So yeah, interest.
And
Yeah,
that was
3.25.
amortized over 30 years, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oops. And then what I would probably do, just for one offer, I'd probably put it around like 6 or 7 years, just as a starting point. Of course, it depends on what they want to do.
Yeah,
I'd
what
probably-
would you do this one for?
So we'll put this one at 7 years.
Okay.
So term of 84 months. And then put that back in the financial calculator, solve for future value. So at the end of that 7-year period, it'd be $133,540 owed as the balloon. I'm just going to put 133. Okay, and so that's about the offer that I would make to them,
Okay.
knowing that we'd probably be able to get quite a bit of cash flow on the other end to an owner occupant.
Well, let's think about what that would be right now. So what would your exit strategy be?
So for my exit, everything is going to be marked up a little bit. So if this house is worth 190, and like you mentioned before, basically somebody that can't go qualify for the bank loan, they'll probably pay more.
Yep.
So I would do a purchase price, probably 205, I'll say.
Okay.
So build that in right away and maybe could go more. So down payment, I'll keep it about 10% and do 21,000.
Okay.
So make 6,000 on the down right up front.
Okay.
So that puts us at 184 as the present value. And then amortize it over 30 years again to start. The interest rate, I'll start it at 6%.
Okay.
Just to see what that yields us. Kind of arbitrary, just knowing that we'll be able to charge more because they're not going to a bank loan.
Yep.
Payment with that is 1103. So pretty similar to what it could rent for.
Correct.
So really, you could probably lift that up even a little bit more.
Well, remember
bigger.
though, they're going to still have the taxes, the insurance, and the HOA that they're going to have
True.
to pay. So, but I think you're right. Certainly someone, it's possible that someone would pay $1,103 for this. Yep.
So we'll keep it there for now. And then the term, we'll keep it the same at 84 months.
Okay, let's see what your balloon is.
Yep. So put that back in for N, solve for future value. So 164,936 is the balloon. 164,936.
Perfect. Okay, so I want you to keep these because I want to go over what you just did is exactly what we just are talking about, which is how to create true passive income. And what I want to do is I want to go through the results in our next episode, as well as tell you what my offer would be, because it's a little different than yours. I like yours. That's certainly something that I would do similar. And just for, and I'm not saying that whether one is right or wrong. It's not. It's just personal preference.
Yeah.
But for me, what I'd probably do is I'd probably even go a little bit higher on the price, but I'd come down off the down payment some. I'd probably be more like around 9 or 10. And that's me. I always want to try to get the money that you get up front. It sustains you, right? It's paying your monthly bills, your business costs. And I know that not every deal's got to be a home run or it's got to pay, but I look at, hey, what's the way that I can get very similar to what I would get as a wholesale fee from my upfront money. And
Gotcha.
it's not always possible, but that's what I would do. And the rest of it, the only thing I'd probably would have done is, depending on if I had any other offers, I would either have that as my longer term offer or I would shorten the term. And it really just depends what else I was doing. And I'd probably leave that as my longer term offer. And I'd probably even, let's just look at this for a second. Let's think, what does the seller gross, right, on this deal? So seller gets 687 times 84. It's 57,708 plus 15,000 down payment plus around 133,000.
Yep.
So the seller will gross just over 205, like 700, and I'm sure they would have gotten to 206 because there was some change in that balloon. So not bad at all. They were asking 170. They're making not necessarily 35,000, but close, right in that vicinity. So to me, I like that offer. I think that's strong. I'm pleased that that you were able to come up with that right off the top of your head. So Nicole, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I'm actually surprised at the 205, so I think that's pretty good too, to be honest. It's more than they're asking, so I don't know that they would turn that down. And the exit, I mean, I don't know what to say about that, but I guess it's okay.
Well, the good thing is on the exit, right, that if there's some room there, and if 6% didn't fly, 5.5, 5.25, 5 probably would. It's somewhere in that range, right? Could this, the only drawback to me about this deal is that it's a 2-bed, 1.5 bath condo. It would be, I'd like it better if it was 3-bed, right? So, but are you seeing where the potential is here? And when we go through the results, if you don't see the potential, then you're just not looking. So Nicole, did you have any questions, or did you understand all the calculations?
No, I think I'm getting better at these calculations.
Good.
So it was easier to follow along for sure.
Great. All right. So why don't we wrap this episode up, and the next episode we will go through my offer, and then we'll look at both results, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
All right.
If you are looking for any additional resources, or you like what you see and you want to learn more about it, check us out in the show notes, check us out in our links, contact me. I'm happy to chat with you about whatever we have to offer. Any last words, either of you?
Nothing on my end. Excited to see the results.
Yep. Go out and create some terms. We'll see you next time.